Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Street Fighter 6 RYU. And if you watch my review for Chun-Li, you know that that figure was one of the worst figures made of all time. This one, it's a contender. It's right up there. It's really bad. Crazy bad, in fact. I wasn't going to get it because I thought it looked so bad. It's so much worse in person. There's only been a few times in my reviewing career where I decided not to review a figure just because it was so unpleasant to handle that I didn't want to put myself through it. Most of those times were Revoltech figures. This was close to happening with this. It is a nightmare of a figure. It might be worse than Chun-Li for a few key reasons. But let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, let me show you my package. It's the new Revoltech packaging. This makes a figure look great. If you're going to put the figure in this pose and leave him in this pose and never look at him from any other angle, go ahead and get it. You're going to be fine. It looks just fine. But as soon as you do anything else, it's really hard to justify because he is an absolute nightmare to handle. And so much of him looks so bad. Like, these poses do such a good job of making him look like a really good figure. Whoever took these photos of this figure deserves a raise. They maybe should own the whole company because it is a bad figure. But there are some good things about it. We're going to talk about all of it because that's what a review is for. So let's go ahead and, well, I can't get it off the stand and take a closer look because I already said that and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Let's look at the actual figure, I guess. That's probably what we should do next. He is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, by the way. If you want to get one, I'll put a link in the description below. As of right now, I say you shouldn't. Maybe my mind will be changed, but I doubt it. He's about 16.4 centimeters to the top of the noggin. That's going to make him about 6.5 inches just shy. Here he is up against Darwin. You could easily put him in a 1/12 scale collection, and he will look like a 1/12 scale figure because he is. Alright, so, question of the day. How do you guys feel about the redesigns for Street Fighter 6? I think every iteration of Street Fighter that makes new designs for these characters, the designs are getting worse and worse and worse. I just don't... It's not because I'm so attached to the original designs, it's because the original designs were timeless and iconic and good. And just throwing a rag over his shoulder and losing his shirt and giving him a beard, it doesn't make the character look better. These goofy sandals don't make the character look better. They're just, it's like, what can we do sort of situation. And I don't like it, but maybe you do. Let me know. You're allowed to like the new designs and I'm allowed to not like them. I think the classic designs are classic for a reason. Okay, so based on that topic, let's go ahead and talk about this. Because on the Storm Collectibles one, you could remove it if you wanted to. On this one, you can't. It is a permanent fixture on his body. It is connected right here. The clasp has a big plug of plastic behind it, and it is connected to his shoulder, which is baffling to me. It's wired, okay? There's a wire here, and there's a wire here. Why couldn't it just hang on him? Why did it have to float off of his chest? That's an insane decision, if you ask me. You might think it's a good decision, that's fine. I think it's a horrible, horrible decision. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's nuts. Whatever. Okay, let's talk about the aesthetic on this guy. I like that they put this texturing on the pants. It feels nice. It's a cloth texture, and it looks pretty good. The skin is a nice matte finish, good skin tone. I think that's fine. They dirtied up the pants a little bit at the bottom. I guess that's okay. His feet aren't dirty though, so it's like his pants are dirty, but his feet aren't. You could argue he washed his feet in his sandals, but not his pants, but I'm not buying it. The head, I don't think looks like RYU at all. Even the new beardy RYU, this doesn't work for me. This looks more like an Italian guy with anime eyes than RYU. It's not even like particular, like obviously it's not accurate since it doesn't look like him, but the details aren't even close. So it's like, what were they doing? They're just going for their own look? It's weird. It's super weird. The cloth back here, by the way, has no paint or anything. It's just cut up a little bit. I guess that's fine. He's a disjointed mess. I think these might be the biggest gaps in a Revoltech figure ever, especially a modern one. His neck is barely seated inside of his body. It's just crazy how bad this figure is. And normally Revoltech will put the hair, this little bit of hair right here, let's brighten it up. as a separate piece that floats inside around the ball peg so that it moves around with the head. In this case, they sculpted it on there and painted it poorly, and now they just have a giant gap in his head when you pose his head around, unless you have him looking straight up. This is shockingly bad for Revoltech. They didn't do anything to account for the gap in the wrists, so like these floating pieces of the wrist guards, or the hand guards, whatever you want to call them, pads, whatever, gloves, they're not loose enough and shaped right to hide the gap. So you just have a gap there all the time. Man. And then that's just the aesthetics. So it already looks bad. I would say don't buy it based on that alone. Unless you're going to put him in just the one pose, like I said, you'll be fine. It gets way worse, guys. So stick around. So aesthetically speaking, I'll give this guy a 3 out of 10. You can put it in a single pose, maybe a couple, and make it look good if you never look at it from different angles. But I don't know that most people want to do that. So you can decide. But yeah, it's not a good looking figure. Now, as far as accessories go, we have a total of 4 heads. There's some quality going on here. Like, it's consistent in the style throughout all 4. In the design philosophy, it doesn't look like Ryu at all, but at least for what it is, it's sculpted and painted really nicely. The head where he's like, I guess he's supposed to be yelling and looking off to the side. It doesn't really look like a yelling head, but the painted details are really nice for the mouth. Mine has red on one of the noses and black in one of the teeth. It's really weird looking. You do get a face for the black hole of charisma. That is that guy that I can't think of his name. Goofy ass character. Couldn't be less of an interesting character design. You get some decent hands. They're okay. I mean, that's everything you're probably going to need for Ryu, so that's fine, but it's not a lot. And then you get his fireball. So you get one where it's just the ball, and then one when you can swap that out with the one that's like extended. And that's pretty cool. It looks alright. It pegs into his hand. That's a nightmare of an activity to try to figure out, or not figure out, but to make work. Like trying to jam that into his hand, it's such a pain in the ass. You have to heat the hands if you don't want to go crazy. And you get a Revoltech display stand. So it's not a great spread of accessories. It's not bad. I'll go 7 out of 10 for accessories. It's perfectly reasonable. I will note, he has holes on his body. He has them in the elbow, they're in the one set of hands, and they're in the feet. And I'm not 100% sure what those are for because my Japanese is a little bit rusty, but on the little instruction sheet, I'm pretty sure it's saying that you can use like other accessories like effect parts, like the swooshies and things like that for this guy. I think that's what it is. I don't know for sure, but I don't like having peg holes in his elbow. I mean, that looks terrible, so any of the poses where his elbow's showing, why does he have a peg hole there? I don't like it. Especially if I have to buy something else. It didn't come with the figure to fill that hole. I don't like it. Okay, so accessories, 7. Let's get to the articulation. And this is where we're going to talk about one of the biggest problems I've ever had with an action figure. Alright, so articulation. The headbands, for a Revoltech, you would think they would pose. They don't. They did not articulate the headband. What is going on with this company? The inconsistency is absurd. The company known for articulated figures, like the most articulation possible, did not articulate the headbands. They didn't do the hair. What the heck? The head does move around. It's okay. But if you want the headband to move, you can't do it. And the neck ends up looking like that. A lot. Otherwise, you just have to lean it side to side. And he looks like a freaking dinosaur. It's a bit much. Man. And you can't lean it back. That is crazy. These things are the same on both sides, except this one has this shit glued to it, so I can't really show you that one as well, but I can show you this one. It works pretty well, except it gets gappy when it goes back, because they put 0 effort into making this figure not look like an absolute atrocity. It leans forward, okay. It's not even one of their best ones in terms of range, and they couldn't get rid of that gap. Those 2 gaps. No freaking way. There's no way. I mean, it'd be fine otherwise for a Revoltech figure, but creating gaps in the chest is just not acceptable. The shoulder on this guy, it's pretty standard. It's not the ugliest one. It's not the most articulated either. It's somewhere in between. You can see he can't raise his arm that high, but it does have the ball peg. So you can do the typical Revoltech stuff if you want to do that. Like that, it can do it. It's not going to be as much as Spider-Man, but it'll work. So that's fine. You get the crooked bicep swivel, which is again fairly standard, and then you get the giant gap of an elbow, which is just crazy. You can get a deep elbow bend that's exactly 90 degrees, not literally, but pretty damn close. So That's if you make it look good. Now, if you make it look bad, which is to do this, you get much better range, but not like a ton, and it's just a giant cavern in there. So, this is not one of their better releases, if you haven't noticed. Little ball hinge wrists are in there, so you can move the hand around pretty well. People ask me all the time, how loose are the hands? I don't mention it always, because Revoltechs are always loose. His aren't terrible. I've seen way worse. So, if you're already into Revoltech, you'll be fine with this. If you're used to good figures, sometimes they have good ones, I'm joking around. If you're used to good figures, the hands might pop off too easily for you. And then, like I said, it's all the same on this side, except this is glued in on the, whatever you want to call it. It's a butterfly, I guess. It's glued in on that. So let's see if we can get this garbage out of the way for the rest of the review. Hold your clothing up there. All right, so for the that's the thing. That's the freaking thing I was going to mention. This figure is an absolute nightmare to handle. It falls apart like you wouldn't believe. So we have this piece. We have this piece. Goes like this. And then we have this piece, which we have to peg back in, because making things simple is too hard these days. We have a giant ball peg there, which I'm fine with. I like the ball pegs, but I don't know that everything needs to have a floating piece and disconnect it too easily and have nubbins to hold it in place. Like, why do we have to have nubbins to hold that in place? It's going to stay in place on its own. It can't go anywhere. There's nowhere for it to go. You don't need the nubbins. Oh, getting it to peg back in sucks. And then it feels like it's just going to pop right off again. But I can't push it any harder than that. That's what she said. And if you're lucky, the legs don't fall off while you're doing it. The first time this happened to me, the legs popped off. So he falls apart. It's like a freaking crash test dummy. Some of you, or most of you, are probably way too young to understand what that is. You guys remember the toy? Never mind. Okay, so the ball peg's in the torso. Doesn't go very far back and gets ugly pretty fast. Going forward, it works okay, but not a lot. For a Revoltech, this is positively no range at all. To the side, not very much. And then this lower ball peg doesn't go back, goes barely forward. It has almost no range. Like, for a Revoltech, this is nothing. This is like good Marvel Legends range. For a Revoltech, it might as well be just a statue. It's insane to me what they did with this figure. And then for the hips, you have your standard Revoltech style hips, which are loose on this side, tight on this side. So they're kind of a pain in the ass to pose, and if you do it just right, it pops off the torso. Let's see if we can do it. Yep, there you go. There's no clearance in there, so it just falls apart. I'll tell you what, this is easily one of the least fun figures I've handled in a good couple of years. Top 5. Top 5 easy. Yeah, so that's too tight on that side, too loose on this side. You'll get the usual Revoltech range by fighting with it. This rotates, by the way, which is nice. They didn't do it for the hairpiece, the headband, but they did it for that. But yeah, usual Revoltech hips that are either too tight or too loose, which is not necessarily a typical thing. But you have to fight with them, so being too tight and too loose is annoying. Be aware of that. For the knee, it's a pretty standard Revo knee, which works, and then you use this joint down here to give that deep knee bend if you want it. No kneecap. I love that. They're not putting the armor on every figure anymore. There's no sticking out knee piece, so that's really good. I love that. So that works, and then, like I said, you get this if you want it. It's obviously goofy looking in some poses, but useful in others, so that's fine. And then for the ankles, you don't rotate this at all. This can't rotate, but you do get the big old ball hinge down there to bring the foot flat, almost, and then forward. Surprisingly little range going forward. The ankle rocker is really good though, so that's nice. And then the toe hinge on this guy is actually not bad. Revo does some of the best toe hinges. They're sculpted properly. See how it's just a perfect circle for the whole thickness of the foot? It's well placed, it's right where it goes. No weird chunking or gaps, that's nice. It's a little bit loose, but it is nice otherwise. So yeah, his articulation, it's average, but also a nightmare and a half to handle. So keep in mind that that is the case. As far as the cape goes, there's no wire anywhere in it that I can find other than an incredibly thin one right here on this piece, and then a thicker one that goes around the neck. So the part that's flowing in the back, you are not posing that. You can just pose it right here at the top. All of this is just dangly. You would think maybe there's something. There's not. It can pose around the body, this piece here, and then this piece here. That's it. So even the wiring isn't good on this guy. Crazy release from Revoltech. Arguably up there with Chun-Li. with how bad that figure was. I guess there might be a little bit of wire left in here. Yeah, I think it's the continuation, so you can hang that at least. So yeah, articulation on this guy for a Revoltech gets a 5 out of 10. It's a giant turd of a figure. It has everything that's wrong with Revoltech all wrapped into one figure. The sculpt is not good. The likeness is not good. The posing isn't particularly good, for them at least. The joints are ugly as hell, and it falls apart. Nuts. Oh yeah, you can rotate these. Not that you would ever need to, but you can. It's crazy. So, yeah, articulation, 5 out of 10 at best. And for Revoltech, it should be lower. And now it's time for the final verdict. 0 out of 10. Do not buy this. Even for, like, the one pose that you can kind of make him look good. Is it worth it for, like, what? Let's say $80 to $100, depending on where you're getting it in exchange rates and everything? No freaking way. This thing's not worth $50 for that singular pose, because it doesn't look good. Just buy a little statue or something if you really, really need one pose that looks decent. This mutant is not the thing for anybody. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Maybe somebody's got an argument to make for it. I doubt it, unless they work for Revoltech. But yeah, that's it for me. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.